One thing that has always interested me is the development of a person. What events happen in a person's life to make them who they are today? Music is a big part of my life. I listen to music everywhere I go. At home, at school, whenever we run errands, on road trips, just pretty much wherever I get the chance. That being said, my current music taste is interesting, to say the least. The reason why has been something of an enigma to me, so today I'm going to take a bit of a look back to see what happened during my life to bring about my current music taste. Most likely similar to all of you, I started out listening to your everyday nursery rhymes like Twinkle Twinkle, Mary Had a Little Lamb, etc, etc. But then I turned 6 and I switched to the big kid music, aka Kidz Bop. This would be my first interaction with pop culture. From there, I would move on to pop music sung by the original artist. Artists like Justin Bieber during the Bieber craze, Demi Lovato, the Jonas Brothers, songs from Disney original movies and shows, and many others would be my go-to. Going into the 4th grade, my genre range expanded a bit into punk rock for my sister, and emo metal. And yes, Mom, it was in fact a phase. Then, one major event happened around my 4th grade year as well. I started playing video games. One way this seriously affected what I listened to was the fact that I would start looking up video games on YouTube. While I had used YouTube long before this, I had only ever used it to watch like one channel, cringey Sonic fan videos, and look up music that I was already listening to anyway. But now that I was getting into gaming, looking up video games would lead me to certain games with soundtracks I particularly liked, this including the Impossible game. I wouldn't really actually look into the game's soundtrack until about early 2015, a year after I was exposed to it, but when I did, it led me to another game while I was looking it up on the App Store, Geometry Dash. This game would blossom for me a newfound love of EDM, or electronic dance music, a very prominent genre in my musical tastes. A little bit before this, I had also started getting into anime, but this did less to my music taste at the time than GD had. Regardless, my interest in EDM would expand during my time playing Geometry Dash, but around the 7th grade, I would discover a new game that would be the catalyst for the rest of all of the music I listened to. Undertale. The game itself was great, but it also had an incredible soundtrack. Looking into the soundtrack of the game, I had found all kinds of cool remixes and videos of or based on the music, before I eventually purchased the soundtrack on Bandcamp. One day that same year though, while looking up one of the game's tracks, I found a video of the song being played in some kind of rhythm game. Looking further into it, I discovered the game was called OS. From then on, I spiraled down onto a dark path of EDM and random weeb music. I'd discover more and more songs and artists than I could have ever imagined being able to download onto my phone. To explain the game in the simplest manner possible, the main game mode required you to click circles, commonly called notes, to the beat of the music in a certain order and area. The songs and notes combined were called a map. During this time, I'd also get into various lesser-known rhythm games. Getting a bit more in detail, I want to talk about how I found my absolute favorite musical artist, since I think that is a pretty important detail to talk about. While I continued finding more artists and songs on OS, I also started getting more into the creator side of the game, since in this game, you could pretty much make a map for any song you could possibly illegally download off of YouTube. Trying to get into mapping, I would frequent a YouTuber by the name of Pishyfat. On June 25th, 2017, a little less than 2 years after I had first found OS, he uploaded a video titled OS Mapping Reputation. In the video, he would take about 22 minutes to explain every technicality of a map that used the song Exit This Earth's Atmosphere by a Japanese EDM artist, commonly referred to as Camellia. I'd never heard of this artist or anything by him, so Pishyfat's unnecessarily long-winded explanation of how all the notes interacted and corresponded with each and every one of the music's sounds had me swooning over the song. Of course, afterwards, I would begin looking up more of Camellia's music, and fall in love time and again with each song of his I listened to, though Exit This Earth's Atmosphere will always hold a special place in my heart. The last major event to affect my music taste was finding a little something called animation memes in 2017, which, in short, are about 30-second animation loops set to music, though it is a more diverse genre of animation than that. I found a lot of songs and a few artists through these short loops. And that is for the most part where the major events stopped. I'm of course still discovering more music and artists. Recently, just this last year, I found several of my favorite artists and songs through various means. From Camellia's music, I found Topaz Light and Chroma. Through Bandcamp, I discovered Coberio and Hushy Forlong. From animation memes, I was exposed to Moe Shop and Snail's House. And because of YouTube, I found Nara's Day at Disneyland and Mafu Mafu. The world is an anomaly. Sometimes the tiniest things can lead to something huge. Just talking about how I developed my current music taste is complex, this being a less detailed version of the story. And so, I implore you all to think about yourselves and what events occurred in your life to make you who you are today. You might just find an interesting story to tell.